Good morning. Now, I don't know if you recognise what you're seeing on the screen, but it's actually the PC interface for PlayStation Now. And the reason I've got that up is because I want to talk about PlayStation Now and how I think PlayStation or Sony could actually improve it, because I do think it can be improved. Now, I did make a video about this a little while ago, and I said that I thought that it was actually a lot better service than people give it credit for, but it did need improving. A couple of things I mentioned then were things like the PC interface needs to improve considerably. And if you look at the interface here, this is it. Basically, this is all you're seeing. There's nothing else to look at. There's no search function. You're basically just left with your menu, and you just have to scroll through and hope that you can find what you're looking for. So that's a bit poor. It's a lot better on the PlayStation, and I said that in my previous video. The other thing, and can't remember if I mentioned this in my previous video, but saves on PlayStation Now. Now, they're a pain in the arse, and the reason they're a pain in the arse is if I go into Horizon Zero Dawn, I'll show you what I mean. Now, I've got Horizon Zero Dawn on my PlayStation, and so I've got quite a way through it, and I haven't finished it, but I had to stop because I lost my save, and that's another issue. But when you go into it on PlayStation Now, if you hit start, and let's just go into that because it's loading up, but it's in another screen. There you go. It's preparing your game. So it starts up the game, and it'll load up, and we can go in. You will need a PlayStation controller for it. Which is another small issue. Maybe it would be nice if you could use other controllers, but I've never managed to get another controller working. You can use third-party PlayStation controllers, as I understand it, but you can't use things like the Xbox controller. So you will need a PlayStation controller. But hey, that's not a big deal. But this will load up eventually. And there you go. So English. As you can see, it says it's asking me to set it up because I've never played it on PlayStation Now before. So let me just return to game. Let me see. English, display subtitles, leave those on. And it's starting to load up. Now, the problem there is, if you can guess, is that this is a completely different save to the save that I've got on my PlayStation. So there's no integration. And oh, look at that. It's a beautiful game, isn't it? Isn't that just gorgeous? Sorry, I know I'm going on, but it is a beautiful game. But anyway, look, I'm gonna go out of there and back to the menu. Let's just close this down. And do you want to close your game? Yes. And let's just go back to the menu. Right, okay, so if I go back home, right, we're back there. So as you can see there, it was loading up for the first time. So that's an issue. And if you look at Xbox and the way they handle saves, if you go to your, and I keep going on about this, but it's a big deal. If you go to your PC and you play an Xbox game, or you go to your Xbox and you play an Xbox game, or you go to your Android phone and you load up xCloud on your Android phone, doesn't matter. You go into that game, you log on with your account, and it will play the exact same save all the way across. So this is one area where Sony really need to improve things. And like I say, I have mentioned this before, but it is worth repeating. They really need to sort that out. And until they sort that out, it makes PlayStation Now less attractive. So then moving on from that, there are a couple of other things that I think would really improve the PlayStation Now. And some of you may not like this. Oh, this interface is terrible. But anyway, look, I think if you look on here, there are some fairly recent games. We've got Horizon Zero Dawn, it's a couple of years old now. Detroit Become Human. But what's missing? What's missing from here? Well, I'll tell you what's missing from here. New games. The latest Spider-Man's not on here. Spider-Man Miles Morales. you've not got any of the Souls games. Well, you may have the earlier Souls games, but I can't check on here very easily. But certainly Demon Souls that came out for the PlayStation last year with the PlayStation 5, that's not on here. And I know this is going to hurt some feels, but for my money, I think in order to make PlayStation Now more attractive and more appealing to a broader audience, PlayStation are going to need to bring their games day and date to PlayStation Now. And that would mean Spider-Man Miles Morales dropping on PlayStation Now the day it comes out. It would mean that Demon Souls has to come to PlayStation Now the day it comes out. And look, this has driven Game Pass sales on the Xbox. And we know what's going on with PlayStation Now. It's kind of growing slowly. It's clunking along like a turtle. It's not growing any real pace. And if you look at xCloud and Game Pass, specifically Game Pass, that's growing massively, week on week, month on month, and it's going to continue to grow. And this is the future of gaming, these services, whether we like it or not, they're the future. And if Sony want to be competing, they need to do this now. They need to certainly be thinking about it. And as I say, I know that some PlayStation fans may not like it and they just want to see old games on here. But what makes the service attractive to new players if they want to come in and dip their toe in? If you are subscribing to it and it makes it a no-brainer because you're getting the new games, everybody's going to want it. It would explode. And it would also send a message that Sony means business with PlayStation Now, and it isn't just an afterthought. Because at the moment, if you look on here, like I say, it's a decent selection of games. But it doesn't say, we mean business. It says, this is a secondary thing, and if you're not really a fan of PlayStation, you can just get this and, whatever. So I really do. I really think that PlayStation games need to come day and date to PlayStation Now if PlayStation are serious about it. And, that's down to them. I don't know whether they're serious about it or not, but I would think that would be the message they need to send. The other one, this is a smaller one. I think that it would be very helpful to them if they made some of the games available to download and play natively on PC. Now, obviously, that's going to be more difficult. If you've got a game, where is it? Let's go back into Horizon Zero Dawn. There you go, Horizon Zero Dawn. If you look at Horizon Zero Dawn, that is a game that has been ported natively to PC now. So it has got a PC port. Same with Death Stranding. And we're going to be getting that with Days Gone as well. So those games have ports or will have ports in the case of Days Gone. And so it would be possible for Sony to have the option to download and play those games. And, games like Wreckfest, you could have Wreckfest as downloadable as well. This is what's available on the Xbox, on Game Pass, on PC. And I know I keep going on about Xbox and Game Pass, but I think it does show us what can be done. And so if you've got things like Wreckfest and Rage and, F1 and these games that are available on PC, why not have them available as a download so you can actually play them natively instead of having to stream them? Because that would be value added as well. Then you'd have the option of streaming or downloading and playing natively. And we all know, or most of us know, some people will argue that it's not the case, but most of us know that the experience you will have from playing a game natively currently is better than streaming it, because you're not having the input lag and all these other issues that you might have. Somebody else goes online and starts watching Netflix, your game slows down. All these kind of problems you wouldn't have. And look, this is going to improve in the future, but for now, the ability to download and play the games natively would be an advantage. And I would like to see that with PlayStation Now as well, because, it can be done. And like I say, I know it can be problematical with some games. If some of these games are just games that are available on PlayStation, then obviously they're going to have to be ported across. But, as I say, games that already have native PC ports, it shouldn't be an issue. Not really. Or, a minor issue. Then the other thing that I think that would be really important, and I think Microsoft, again, and I know I'm harping on about Microsoft, I think Microsoft have realized this, they were kind of forced into this, is making your service available in a browser. Now, we've seen this with Stadia. Stadia is amazing in this sense. This is amazing in other ways as well, but they're negative. But the amazing thing about Stadia is you can just load up a browser. You load up your browser and you can run Stadia in a browser, and it just works. With all the caveats I've said about input lag and all the rest of it, but it does work. Same with GeForce Now. Putting it in a browser makes it a lot simpler, and it also makes it work across other platforms as well. I mean, I made a couple of videos last week talking about getting GeForce Now and Stadia running on the Xbox through the Edge browser. Can you imagine if PlayStation Now was available in a browser? You didn't have to download this app, which is what I've got here. This is an app that I'm having to use, and if it was available in a browser, you could actually be running PlayStation Now on the Xbox. Can you imagine? It would be amazing. And I would find that really exciting. And you could run it on your tablet. You could run it on your phone. You wouldn't be restricted in any way. Anything that had a browser, in theory, should be able to run PlayStation Now. And this is what Microsoft are doing with xCloud. Because, if you look at Stadia and you look at GeForce, they run in a browser, and it takes away a lot of the restrictions. And as I say, that's why Microsoft are doing it, because Apple blocked their app. So they couldn't put xCloud or Xbox streaming or whatever they're calling it now. But anyway, xCloud, we'll call it xCloud. They are creating a browser feature, if you like, so you can run it in a browser. And they're doing that so they can get around Apple's stupid restrictions. And I think Sony need to do the same. I think if Sony opened this up and made it available in a browser, then again, you put that together with games coming day and date, you sort out the save issue, and then they've got a really attractive proposition, because no one's going to argue against the fact that Sony have some of the best properties. Apart from the most rabid Xbox fanboys, let's be honest. They have some fantastic games. And if these games were day and date, if these games were on this service, and this service was available to everybody everywhere at a decent price, because it is a decent price now, it was way too expensive before, but it's a decent price now. If they did these things, I think PlayStation Now, well, it becomes like Xbox Game Pass. It becomes a no-brainer. And it almost becomes one of those things where you're like, well, I have to have this. As it stands, I don't think that's the case. I don't think you have to have PlayStation Now. If you, especially if you're a PlayStation player from years ago and you've got loads of PlayStation games, why do you need PlayStation Now, really? I mean, I subscribe to it, but I hardly ever use it, if I'm being honest. Usually only ever use it when I'm making these videos. But yeah, look, the way I look at it is that gaming's changing. Digital distribution has already overtaken physical distribution. And the next battleground, we're already seeing this, is going to be services. And so Sony needs to compete. And, if they don't do some of these things that I'm suggesting, and I'm not saying I'm the only one suggesting these, I'm not the oracle. But if they don't do these things, I think they could get left behind. And, you know, maybe Sony know this, I don't know. They're certainly not stupid. And they must be looking into some of this stuff. And I actually think that that's probably why they did this deal with Microsoft. So they, you know, for the servers or whatever. I don't know the detail of the deal they did with Microsoft, but it looks like they are going to be collaborating moving forward so that Sony can maybe use the Azure servers or whatever the infrastructure that Microsoft have got. Because they certainly need that infrastructure. You know, like Netflix uses Amazon's server infrastructure to deliver Netflix. You know, you don't have to have your own server infrastructure. You use someone else's. And Sony has to do that because they don't have that server infrastructure. But I do think we will see these changes. You know, we may not see the ability to download and play games natively on PC, but I think the others we're likely to see. Whether they sort out the saves, I don't know, this is a Sony thing. Why they didn't set that up with the saves running across the cloud for all their services is beyond me. That one needs to be sorted. But the others, I really do think we will see that PlayStation games will come day and date to PlayStation Now. Eventually, they will almost be forced into doing it. And we will see PlayStation Now running in a browser. And if we don't, I'm not sure it'll be able to compete. But anyway, that's my opinion. You guys may have completely different views on this to me, and I'm sure some people will. But if we're looking to the future, I think this has to happen. Anyway, look, that's me done. This was an opinion piece. Argue with me in the comments. Give me a thumbs up. Like, subscribe. Subscribe to my Discord, because if you come in there, it's not like the comments on YouTube are so difficult to follow and keep up with. And I miss things. Sometimes I find a comment that's 2 weeks old, sometimes 2 months old, and I have to respond to it because I think, oh, that's an interesting comment. And I didn't see it when it was first posted. So come in the Discord. And I'll see your comment in there. It might take me a day or so to get back to you because often people are in America and they're commenting when I'm in bed asleep. But yeah, come into my Discord and we can have a chat. But in the meantime, I'm going to go and grab myself a cup of tea. And I'll speak to you guys in the next one. Bye. Thanks for watching.